Hi, my name is Bhushan Gopaluni, and I'm a professor in the Department of Chemical and Biological Engineering at the University of British Columbia. It's my absolute pleasure to be presenting to you today. My presentation is made possible by the hard work of several graduate students and colleagues listed on this slide. I will be presenting a few results from our recent work on artificial intelligence and machine learning applied to the process industries. For further details, please refer to our group website at http://dais.chbe.ubc.ca. There's a lot of buzz around AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Some of it is probably misplaced. However, there are genuine reasons for us to be excited about the potential of AI and its impact on industrial automation. The buzz around AI is primarily because of several breathtaking breakthroughs on problems related to image classification, voice recognition, and so on. In the next 10 minutes or so, I would like to present a few examples of how the algorithms behind these breakthroughs can be used to redefine automation in process industries. Let's imagine a future industrial plant that is highly automated, has cloud onboard AI-enabled intelligence, has connected assets, perhaps self-diagnosing, virtual reality-enabled control rooms and virtual assistants, maintenance-free controllers, and is able to operate with high efficiency while guaranteeing high level of safety and reliability. In other words, imagine a future industrial plant with a level of automation not currently seen in the industry. The question I would like to pose to you today is that type of a plant, future plant, possible? There are a lot of reasons for us to be optimistic about it. Data revolution is all around us. There are more pieces of equipment and sensors that are currently connected to a large network of Internet of Things than ever before and are generating huge volumes of data, causing data deluge. There's enormous computing power now that did not exist just a few years ago. In addition, there have also been major algorithmic advances in the recent years. We believe that this serendipitous confluence of data, computing power, and algorithms is what is responsible for the breakthroughs in applications, whether it's image classification, self-driving cars, speech recognition, natural language understanding, or human-level control of games. There was a Time magazine special edition on AI a couple of years ago, and they concluded that there is actually one primary algorithm that's behind these breakthroughs, and that algorithm is deep learning. There's also a fascinating paper by Professor Venkat Subramanian from Columbia University titled "The Promise of Artificial Intelligence in Chemical Engineering, Is It Here Finally?" In that, he chronicles the successes and failures of AI in the process industries over the last 3 decades. He argues that the major breakthroughs in AI can be classified into those in statistical machine learning, deep learning, and reinforcement learning. In the next few minutes, I'll take you through some examples of how we've used these breakthroughs to solve modeling, fault detection and diagnosis, and control problems in mining and related industries. Here is an example of how we've used nonlinear dimensionality reduction to solve an industrial problem. Overloading in semi-autogenous grinding mills is a recurring problem. By reducing the risk of overloading, it's possible to save hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. On the right-hand side, you see a picture of a SAG mill that we worked with. The challenge is to predict overloading before it happens. Several variables in this process are measured, including bearing pressure, motor power, sound level, particle size, etc. This is a typical process monitoring problem, and the standard approach to solve this problem is to go from the observation space, the space of all measurements, to a feature space, and then use a classification algorithm to separate normal operation from overloaded conditions. This plot here shows bearing pressure and motor pressure as a function of time. The overloaded region is in the circled area. Operators have to visually notice the increase in motor power before they can take appropriate action, and that is often too late. Our goal was to predict these excursions into overloaded regions before they happen so that we can take preventative actions. We've used traditional dimensionality reduction tools such as principal component analysis as well as a nonlinear reduction tool called local linear embedding to separate the normal operating data from overloaded data. The blue triangles represent normal data and the red triangles represent overloaded data. On the left-hand side, you see the reduced dimensions using PCA, and on the right-hand side, you see the reduced dimensions using local linear embedding. The table at the bottom shows the accuracy of classification in the feature space using both PCA and LLE for two different sets of input variables. As you can see, in the last two columns of the table, LLE provides better performance. I do want to emphasize that local linear embedding, or LLE, is just one tool in a large set of tools, and its better performance is not going to be guaranteed on all types of problems. This is an example from a wastewater treatment process in the mining industry. The goal here is to remove selenium from the effluent water streams using these two bioreactors. However, the operation of these bioreactors and the optimal process conditions, including the choice of microbes, is poorly understood. On the other hand, it's possible to generate large volumes of chemical and biological data from these bioreactors. We've used machine learning tools to turn this heterogeneous data into information and eventually into useful models. Our hope is that these models can in turn be used to develop controllers for optimal continuous operation of the bioreactors. We've developed a systematic approach to process the raw data, to reduce the dimensions, to identify important features, and to eventually turn the data into models. We've built a wide range of models, some of which are shown here in the table at the bottom on the left-hand side, where RF stands for random forests, SVM stands for support vector machines, and ANN stands for artificial neural networks. We found that random forest models provided best model accuracy in this particular example. In addition, we also found that more data did not necessarily imply better model quality. In this final example from the mining industry, we are interested in predicting an abnormal event before it occurs. In the top right-hand corner, you can see a schematic of an electric furnace with molten ore material in it. This electric furnace has two electrodes. The heat in the furnace is generated by maintaining an electric arc between the tip of each of these electrodes and the molten ore in the furnace. Every few hours, the furnace loses the electric arc, which in turn results in loss of production time. Over a year, this particular plant loses production time equivalent to approximately 30 days because of arc losses alone. There's gigabytes of data available from this furnace. We use that data to develop machine learning models that predict an arc loss event 5 minutes before it occurs with over 75% probability. The spiral schematic here shows the workflow we develop to solve problems of this type. I would like to briefly cover the idea of reinforcement learning and how it can potentially be used to develop maintenance-free controllers. At its core, the idea of reinforcement learning is very similar to control. A reinforcement learning agent generates actions to perturb a process. The response of the process is in turn used to learn the underlying process dynamics and generate further actions. The step of perturbing the process is referred to as exploration, and the step of using the data to learn the process dynamics is referred to as exploitation. Actor critique approach is a popular reinforcement learning algorithm where the actor finds an optimal policy and the critique evaluates the current policy or the current algorithm. We've applied this idea in simulations to a benchmark distillation column. As you can see in the figures on the right-hand side, the deep reinforcement learning algorithm is able to track the set points very efficiently. The beauty of this algorithm is that no information about the dynamic behavior of the process was provided to it. If you visit our group's website, you will find detailed papers on this topic. To summarize, the modern machine learning tools allow us to build large-scale nonlinear dynamic models, algorithms for detecting and diagnosing faults and maintenance-free controllers. However, there are several challenges that need to be overcome before these tools are widely used in the industry. There's a common misconception that big data are also good data. Often, that is not the case. Training deep neural networks is computationally expensive and they are difficult to use in an online fashion. Moreover, because of the black box nature of these models, it's not yet clear as to how we can guarantee performance or stability of these models. Mathematical analysis is also proving to be very difficult. So to summarize, we work on three different types of problems. Problem one involves building database large-scale models and adapting them online. Problem two involves predicting abnormal events before they happen. Problem three involves taking online optimal decisions. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to meeting you at the workshop.